Alright, if I can get this edited and shout out online in time, then it's officially been 3 years since my first ever stupid, boring ramble about video games. And I gotta say, I was a very different person and in a very different kind of place when it came to video gamer games around that time. It was 2020. Nintendo and pretty much every other video game company was collectively jerking us around and everything sucked. I wonder why. Nintendo had come swinging out the gates a couple years before with the Nintendo Switch, and we had Super Mario Odyssey and Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all these games that were seemingly a culmination of everything Nintendo as a company had been building to until that point. And then they just kind of stopped. We still had one or two really standout titles. We had like Super Mario Party, which was pretty good. Luigi's Mansion 3 was amazing, but they kind of slowed to a snail trail. Now, we did have COVID to blame for a lot of that, but they were printing so much money that it almost seemed like they knew that they could just do whatever they wanted. Every time they would do a Luigi's Mansion 3, they would do a Nintendo 64 expansion pack online. They would take down some fan game, and it became really, really easy to become incredibly cynical when it came to games, and specifically Nintendo. So if you go back and watch these early stupid rants, when I'm not talking about something old that I like, I'm just so vitriolic and mean about games and the current state of it. I act like everybody that enjoys modern gaming is a fucking lobotomite that deserves to be buried in snow. Also, just in terms of hardware, I just became so dejected with the Switch. I saw it as this underpowered slab that Nintendo was clinging to because they knew that they could manufacture it for cheap and the people would buy it even if it didn't function right. I think a game that perfectly represents how I felt about Nintendo around this time was Paper Mario and the Origami King. Paper Mario was a franchise that had been known and lauded for its characters, its world, and its combat. Just everything about it was so unique and interesting and surprisingly in-depth for a Mario game. Nintendo had taken this and squashed it and squished it until it was nothing. Nobody wanted this. Who would want this? But did Nintendo listen? No, they just kept making them. That was until the Origami King, where it seemed like there was an obvious intention to push the envelope and get back to what was great about the series. This game had kind of characters, and they had arcs, and the story was kind of interesting again, and you had a world that was gorgeous to look at and explore, but the game was still so obviously held back. In lieu of actual RPG elements, they had this stupid grid system that was just boring at best and pointless at worst. And for as gorgeous as the game actually was, the second you had to do anything intensive, the frame rate, at least in my experience, would dip to just garbage levels. From that infamous interview that came out and everything else around the game, it was just so obvious that the crew that were working on it wanted to make something new and innovative, but there was some kind of old guard or something holding them back and making them make, well, meh. It was very indicative of the games and the characters and what Nintendo was trying to form. They were trying to create this squeaky clean Mickey Mouse image, but nobody wanted that from them. I mean, just a couple years before that, they were squashing every single individual person that ever talked about their stuff with an iron fist. I mean, the fucking... Remember that? But then, right as I and loads of other people right at the most cynical they could possibly be, we hated Nintendo. We thought that the Switch was a overpriced toy that would erupt into flames if it ever had to run anything more powerful than Tetris. Right as we were all at the peak of that, Nintendo started to save it a little bit. In 2021, we still got a lot of shit. You know, there was the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, which were just... oh god. And we had Mario Golf Super Rush, which was there. But then we had the re-release of Super Mario 3D World. Nintendo had been pissing off people for years by constantly re-releasing Wii U games on the Switch. Super Mario 3D All-Stars pissed off people for like a week straight. And in all fairness, those ports were just hastily, shoddily shat together. At least Pikmin 3 had like extra missions and stuff, but Mario 3D All-Stars was... But Mario 3D World did something new. It put in Bowser's Fury, which was just, in its own right, a fantastic little game. Despite being attached to this older re-release, it was still new and exciting and had new ideas and elements, a new world. It was really creative, and it was really fucking fun. Then in 2022, things got way better. We got Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Pokemon Legends, Arceus, Scarlet and Violet kind of sun, Splatoon 3. All of a sudden, I and all these other people that I keep mentioning that apparently exist, I don't know, they might be the voices in my head. We started looking left and right. We were like, wait, hang on a second. I'm actually using my Switch for more than like once every 6 months. What's the meaning of this? Then 2023 happened. Pikmin 4, Metroid Prime Remastered, Super Mario RPG Remake, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, WarioWare Move It, everybody wanted to Switch. In these last 2 years, Nintendo has turned the Switch from this console that had like 5 or 6 really good games and then a bunch of shovelware into a console that has the definitive Mario catalog, the best way to play Metroid Prime, the definitive Pikmin catalog, 2 of the games that have gamed the most games out of games that ever gamed, and Detective Pikachu Returns, but we don't talk about that one. And to top everything off and bring us full circle, we're gonna get a remake of Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the game that spat in the face of any kind of Nintendo restriction. We're in a new creative era. It seems like the old guard that was so insistent on keeping Mario and Zelda and all these franchises in the ways that they'd been for the last 20 years. I don't know if they died, maybe they got the bubonic plague, I don't know, but they're gone. We've got the fresh, new, young people making creative, risky decisions, and the perfect representation of this is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This game, oh my fucking god.
Snack time.
For today's snack time, I thought I'd just get away from it all and go for a little walk in the woods. I sure hope nothing bad happens. I definitely don't want to get lost. Oh no, hang on, where am I? Oh, whoa, this isn't worms. Oh god, arms.
Look right there. Some bruised mites and grooms. That's some fresh water out there. Bottoms up.
This game is amazing. I've been playing it non-stop since I got it. I never pre-ordered games a couple years ago. If you ever told me, oh, I pre-ordered a game, I'd call you an idiot. Because in my mind, every new game was a coin toss on whether or not it was going to be okay or dog shit, that I just didn't see the point in spending all that money to get a game that you weren't even sure was going to run right. But I gotta say, the old Nintendo, the company that used to make games like Super Mario Galaxy, things that had never been done before, I'd say they're back. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a miracle. It controls like butter. It looks absolutely gorgeous. It's bustling with content. It has so much charm and personality. It could feed a family of 7 for weeks purely on endearingness. The multiple playable characters, the environment, the enemies, the music, everything about it just comes together into a perfect symphony of new. Wait a second. If you go on Twitter or whatever the hell it's called now, or any other social media, and you look up stuff about Super Mario Bros. Wonder, everybody's comparing it to New Super Mario Bros., which they should. It was the premier 2D Mario side-scroller before this game. And everybody's talking about how dry and soulless and drab New Super Mario Bros. Is. And I don't know, I don't think they really give the series enough credit. When you were a kid and you popped in that Wii copy, that bright red blood Mario copy into your Wii, and you played it for the first time, that's how Super Mario Bros. Wonder feels now. When you played New Super Mario Bros. On the Wii as a kid, which I'm sure many people that are playing Mario Wonder did, how did it make you feel? When I played it, I was just filled with this wonder and joy just at how fun it was. Running around as Mario and everything. I didn't really care that the characters' faces stayed exactly the same or there wasn't really that much variety animations or anything, because that's not what I was focused on. I was a tiny kid and my mind filled in the gaps. But you know, when you're a dumb, lazy adult that doesn't pay taxes, you don't really fill in these gaps anymore. So the game has to do it for you. And Super Mario Bros. Wonder does an amazing job of that. The animations in this game are impeccable. Jumping into a pipe, throwing fireballs, crouching. Running around in a circle in this game has brought me more joy than anything I've played on the Switch in 2018 and 2019 combined. Every other game that's come out this year, you play it, there's going to be 1 or 2 bits where you're like, your immersion's broken, and that's to be expected. Every game has a moment where something in the code or something kind of falters for a second and you just don't really feel like in the world anymore. It would be ludicrous to expect the game to be 100% immersing, 100% of the time, constantly, every animation on point, everything completely flawless. But Mario Wonder is. There's never a frame drop. There's never a moment where it freezes. There's never a moment where something feels slightly out of place or music feels kind of weird. My only complaints with the game so far are the flowers kind of annoying. The jump sound is really bad. I don't know why they went with that. Overall, this game runs meticulously. Everything about it is so deliberate and perfectly placed. I don't really have a point with this video. I've been playing Mario Wonder and it's made me so happy. My cynicism for gaming and video games is gone. I actually want to pre-order games again. I did. I pre-ordered Mario Wonder like a few days before it came out. I don't do that anymore. I thought that was dead. I promised I would never do that again. But the wonders of making a really good video game that caters to everything I would want in a video game has gotten me to pay money for video games. I'm in the machine again. I'm so happy that the multi-billion-dollar corporation has me by the throat again. I'm just so excited. There's been lots of speculation and talks and leaks about the Nintendo Switch 2 coming out. And honestly, if it were to come out next year, this would be the best time. This could be one of those situations where the Switch walked so the whatever comes next could run. Whatever Nintendo's next console is, if they go in with the same team and passion that they have right now, it could be the the console. Oh, but it's 8 hours. It's only 8 hours long. You paid full price for a game and it's only 8 hours.
$7.50 an hour.
Ignoring the fact that that's only the case if you do the bare minimum, and also ignoring the fact that deals and discounts exist, that's the only reason I could even afford this game. What do you mean my 2D platformer doesn't have as much content as my sprawling RPG? What are you talking about? To me, a game that's 50 hours is like a movie that's 3 hours. When they get it right, it's amazing, but 9 times out of 10, the pacing just completely suffers and the game is boring for at least 20 hours of its runtime. Like, yeah, sure, your game is 90 hours long, but 90% of that is either following around people, listening to them talk, or just sitting there and doing the most boring thing imaginable, and only 8 hours of the game is actually the stuff you paid for and you enjoy doing. Oh, wait a minute. I understand. People want to get their money's worth. I do. I didn't pay full price for this game. I would never pay that money for a game, but I would much rather pay for 8 hours of perfection than 50 hours of whatever this is. Oh wow, that's actually kind of... You know what? I see, yeah. I see what's going on, yeah. Wow. The things we're capable of.
Pull out your dead roots. Pull out your best suit. It's time to inspect the subject. Lose your intentions. Lose all your common sense. It's time to groom you for judgment.